What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's Daniel and welcome back to our video. Today I'll be previewing Trackhouse Racing as we head into the 2025 NASCAR Cup Series season. So anyways, let's go ahead and just jump straight into it. The first driver we're talking about today from Trackhouse Racing is Ross Chastain. Ross Chastain will be back behind the wheel of the number 1 car for the organization in 2025. Now, Ross Chastain had an up-and-down season in 2024. He picked up 1 win, that coming at Kansas Speedway late in the season. He had 6 top 5s and 14 top 10s. But unfortunately, for the first time since 2021, Ross Chastain failed to make the playoffs, mostly because a lot of guys below him in the standings who were struggling throughout the year basically won races, while Ross did not pick up his win till the end of the year. It was an up-and-down year for Ross Chastain, probably his least consistent season since the 2021 year. Now, going into 2025, once again, I believe Phil Surgeon is going to be the crew chief, which these two have gelled together exceptionally well throughout the last couple of years. Every single year since 2022, of course, Ross Chastain has been able to pick up a win and a victory. And I think going into 2025, Ross has a couple pretty big goals. So what do I think Ross Chastain will do in 2025? Well, number one, I think Ross Chastain will obviously pick up a win. Every year since 2022, Ross has scored at least 1 win. In 2022 and 2023, he picked up 2 wins each. I think Ross Chastain could have a multi-win season in 2025. But not only that, I think he's got a really good chance to have a massive rebound season. Ross Chastain probably would have made the playoffs this past year had it not been for some mistakes on the racetrack, but also because there were, like I said, a lot of different people who won below him. But I think that Ross Chastain is going to have a very strong season in 2025. I think this team's making some pretty big restructuring behind the scenes, and they've got a lot more focus on the team, as a team is not had their resources stretched as much with the focusing on an Xfinity program for Shane Van Gisbergen, and we'll talk about here in just a short little bit, but also some other things. I think Ross Chastain's got a really great chance and opportunity. Now, I do believe also that Ross Chastain is in a contract year with Trackhouse Racing, but I do expect that Ross Chastain is going to get that contract signed in the next couple of weeks and months. Ross is a really talented and really great driver. Ross has been one of the best talents we've seen in recent years. I think he's going to be able to smash some watermelons throughout the 2025 year, and I think Ross will get multiple victories, and I think he will easily be able to definitely for sure make the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs in 2025. I expect Ross Chastain to be a major threat and serious contender potentially for the championship in the 2025 NASCAR Cup Series season with Trackhouse Racing. The second driver we're talking about today from Trackhouse Racing is Daniel Suarez. Daniel Suarez is back behind the wheel of the number 99 car for 2025 after signing only a 1-year contract extension with Trackhouse Racing. Now, 2024 with Daniel Suarez was very interesting. He picked up a second career NASCAR Cup Series victory and one of the closest finishes in NASCAR Cup history at Atlanta Motor Speedway, beating the likes of Ryan Blaney and Kyle Busch to pick up the win and the victory. But he only had 4 top 5s and 9 top 10 finishes. It's also expected that Matt Swiderski will once again be the crew chief for Daniel Suarez in 2024. Like I said, it was kind of like a Jekyll and Hyde season for Daniel Suarez. He did have some pretty big highs, like that really great photo finish when he was able to pick up, but he also had a lot of lows throughout the 2024 year. Throughout a majority of the season, Daniel Suarez ran outside the top 10, and at points, especially throughout the season, he ran outside the top 20. But he also had some pretty standout performances, like at Richmond in the middle of the summer, and a couple of the races throughout the year as well, to where he actually was able to make it to the round of 12. Now, what are the expectations for Daniel Suarez going into 2025? Well, the goal should be to improve on what he did in 2024. I'm not sitting here saying he needs to go out there and pick up a win and a victory, but he needs to be competing for a playoffs, considering the fact that this is going to be a contract year for Daniel Suarez at this organization. And when you have a young hotshot like Connor Zilisch, who is one of the best young talents that we have seen in recent years, he is going to have a lot of pressure going into 2025 to really perform. I think he does have a really good chance to do that, though, but I think this upcoming season, like I said, is going to be a make-or-break season for him to stay at Trackhouse Racing. He needs to be really close to his teammates throughout the year, and needs to be completing for a playoff spot throughout the remainder of the 2025 season. If he struggles a lot this year, his ride could be up for guys maybe like Kyle Busch, who could become a free agent at RCR, or maybe even Connor Zilisch this upcoming year. If he can have a fantastic, great season, though, with Trackhouse Racing, there is a really great chance and a strong opportunity that he'll be able to keep his seat I think Daniel Suarez does have a good opportunity here, and I think it could be a pretty solid and strong year. We'll see what Daniel Suarez can do, but I do think, like I said, he's got a lot of really major and massive pressure to really step up and have a fantastic, great year. We'll see what he can do at Trackhouse Racing in 2025. And a final driver we're talking about from Trackhouse Racing today is Shane Van Gisbergen. Shane Van Gisbergen will be joining the NASCAR Cup Series full-time in 2025 with Trackhouse Racing in the number 88 car for the team. Now, 2024 was a learning year for SVG. He did not pick up a win in the NASCAR Cup Series, had 1 top 5 and 2 top 10 finishes. But we all know he's competing full-time in the NASCAR Xfinity Series this past year, and he had a pretty good year in Xfinity competition. He had 3 wins, all of them coming on road courses, that being in Chicago, Sonoma, and Portland. He also had, I believe, 5 or 6 top 5s and 10 top 10s throughout the year, and also made the playoffs as a rookie. And barely made it out of making it to the round of 8. Almost got into the round of 8. It had he won at potentially the Charlotte Roval. Now, going into 2025, he will have Steven Durant as a crew chief, who was a crew chief for Zane Smith in 2024, who we're still waiting on his future plans for 2025. The other big thing around Shane Van Gisbergen is he's bringing a lot of sponsorship to the table with the team. WeatherTech is going to sponsor him throughout quite a few of the events throughout 2025, I believe, including the Daytona 500. And we may also see Red Bull and Wendy's and a couple other companies that have worked with Shane Van Gisbergen really closely potentially work with him throughout 2025. Shane Van Gisbergen is someone that I think is going to be very fun to watch for and be fun to see how he can do throughout the year. So what are the expectations for Shane Van Gisbergen in 2025? Well, the first big goal is show a lot of improvement throughout the year, because I think this is going to be a big learning curve year for him throughout the 2025 season. He's probably going to start off very, very slow, but one type of track we know that he is going to be strong at is the road courses. I look at Circuit America as being a circle track for him to win. Mexico City, when we go there, no one's going to really have any experience from that event, and I think he probably will run the Xfinity race as well. I look at races like Watkins Glen getting redemption from this year. I look for him to be a major threat at Sonoma. I look for him to be a major threat at the Charlotte Roval at the end of the year. I think he will get a couple wins in the NASCAR Cup Series in 2025. If you want my bold prediction, I think he'll win 2 races in 2025. I do think he'll, like I said, run mid-teens throughout majority of the year, but I think he will get quite a few top 10s, some occasional top 5s, and I do think he will be able to make the playoffs in 2025. Again, I think he will show some great speed. I think it's going to be fun to see what he can do throughout the 2025 year. He's going to be one of the more exciting drivers to get to see behind the wheel throughout the whole entire year and season. I expect Shane Van Gisbergen to be really interesting to watch, and I think that SVG could definitely be a major threat and contender to get a lot of wins and victories. I think he will be a major threat and a major factor for wins, and he also could win a super speedway as well. And don't count him out of Martinsville. He had a really strong run there. I think it's going to be really fun to see what he can do in 2025. And finally, let's talk about Project 91. Project 91 was not on the racetrack in 2024 after being on the racetrack the prior 2 years. The big reason was they were focusing on Shane Van Gisbergen and getting him up to speed so he can move up to the NASCAR Cup Series. Justin Marks stated recently that Project 91 is most likely going to make a comeback and return in 2025 or maybe in the not-so-distant future. I think there's a great chance it will make a comeback in 2025. So let's say it does make a big comeback like I expect it to. Who could be drivers behind the wheel? Well, we know that Daniel Suarez and Trackhouse are trying to court Max Verstappen over, so I could see him getting a chance and opportunity. I also think there's a really good chance that Connor Zilisch could make his NASCAR Cup Series debut in this car. A lot of people think that Connor Zilisch is good enough to make some Cup starts. They're not expecting him to go out there and win a road course race, but I think many do think they've put him behind the wheel of the Project 91 car, that he could be really, really strong and super, super competitive. I look for other drivers like a Juan Montoya being a possibility. What about other drivers in the camp of Red Bull, perhaps, like a Yuki Tsunoda or Liam Lawson? I know that their schedules are tight, but obviously Red Bull has an entitlement group over there working. What about those two being a potential possibility? What about getting Carl Edwards? That would be really cool. Probably not going to happen, though, at this point. But I think we will see Project 91 in some sort of capacity throughout the 2025 year. And it's cool to see that this car will be coming back in some sort of capacity throughout the 2025 season. Overall, when you look at Trackhouse Racing, this team did have overall a down year in 2024, though they did get 2 victories across the board. So what are the overall expectations for Trackhouse? We'll get back to where you were, at least in 2023. I'm not expecting to get back to where they were the first year that Ross Chastain was with the team, but I think this team wants to show a lot of improvement. Again, I think 2 of these drivers will make the playoffs most likely, that being Ross Chastain and Shane Van Gisbergen. Suarez, he's going to have a pressure to really step up and perform throughout the year. If he can have a great season, I could see him returning to the team. Otherwise, I think young hotshot Connor Zilch will likely get behind the wheel of this team full time in the 2025 calendar year. So, that is going to be it for the 2025 Trackhouse Racing Team Preview. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, notifications on, so if I win a video, it does go live on my channel. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and support me on Patreon as well. Let's get some more of that and comment your thoughts below on today's episode. What are your expectations for Trackhouse Racing for the 2025 NASCAR season? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If there's any major news that does break throughout today, we'll discuss here live on the channel. If not, the next time you'll see me will probably be Thursday. Most likely going to be a NASCAR news video dropping on the channel. Friday, there'll probably be some special content dropping, maybe another team preview dropping on the channel for another organization I have not done on the channel at this point. Saturday, there's going to be some special content dropping, probably Xfinity Series playoff predictions most likely will be coming out. And then on Sunday, of course, we will probably have another special video dropping, maybe taking a look at the Cup lineup altogether that might be coming this weekend. And if there's any other big news that does break throughout the week, we'll discuss here live on the channel. Monday, that will probably be another NASCAR news video, and we're going to close out the remainder of the year with some really special and fun content to close out the remainder of 2024 heading into 2025. We've also got content of people like Haley Deegan, Carl Edwards, Kurt Busch, Kyle Larson, Chase Elliott, Shane Van Gisbergen, again, Bubba Wallace, the 2011 front row lawsuit coming, Connor Zilch, Junior Motorsports, all that kind of stuff. I think there's a lot of really fun and great content dropping before we close out the remainder of 2024 and go into 2025. So anyways, like I said, I want to thank you guys for watching today's episode, and I'll see you guys next time for more great, awesome NASCAR content, other motorsports content on the channel like this. Take care, everybody.